forever, one of the biggest problems with workers' compensation is it tends to pit the employer versus the employee. And a lot of times, I've had people that have worked for a company for 25 years, and to them it's like a family. And now they get hurt. And they didn't intend to get hurt. They didn't go out and try to get hurt. They're not faking anything. Yet they sense when they get hurt, they're no longer a family. They're now an outcast and even considered by the employers a lot of times to be a villain because they're seeking workers' compensation benefits. And you see it, you see it all the time. And if you were to counsel an employer, you would say, stay in touch with your employees if they're hurt and out and injured and on work comp and they're feeling abandoned and they're not getting as much money and they don't know how they're going to pay their bills and how they're going to, and the wife is wondering what's going on, you were making this much, now you're only getting this much, how are we going to get by? And it would help tremendously if the carriers, and not the carriers so much, really the employers, because most clients don't know who the carrier is, but at least they know who their boss was. They may know who all their bosses were. And if they never hear a word from those guys, what do they think? They think those guys don't give a what about me. Here I am. I'm the one that's hurt. I'm the one that can't pay my bills. I'm the one that's, wondering where we're going to get how we're going to make our rent payment. And they're not even giving me a call to see how I'm doing. I hear it all the time, and it's the absolute truth. It's really tough. It's a frustrating situation. Most people want to work. They do. A lot of people enjoy their work. A lot of people do. It's hard to believe, but a lot of people enjoy what they do. Any level of work that you do, that a person does, it becomes a part of their life. It's what they are. If you're a construction worker, then you're a construction worker. If you're a plumber, you're a plumber. That's what you are. That's your identity. So it's when that's taken away from you, and I have had cases, for instance, with a UPS worker, a UPS driver, makes a good living. He drives, but it's a hard work. Well, if that guy blows out his knee jumping out of the back of his truck, and he can't go back to that job, it's devastating, and it's devastating for that person. And workers' compensation doesn't take that into account. It really doesn't take that into account. It's if you can't go back to doing that job and your employer doesn't have any other job for you, well, too bad, so sad. We don't really care. It's unfortunate that that's the way it is, but unfortunately that is the system as it currently exists. And I've had people don't realize, or a lot of people do, that there are people that do blue collar work that make a very nice living for themselves and their families. And those are the people that are hurt mostly by workers' compensation. If you're an attorney or a doctor, you're rarely going to get hurt and miss time from work and file a work comp claim because we don't do anything, we don't do any hard work. We just don't do that. But people who do, those are the ones that are most typically affected, by the workers' compensation system and involved in the work comp system. And they got just as much to lose as I do or anybody else.